All right, you want to give our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rakakwadash. Would love to give double honors to the apostles of GMS as well that we learn from. Peace, blessing, salutation to you, Akim, you Aqua tuning in, and you Israelite foreigners. Now, this is for you so-called Negro, Latino, Hispanic, Native Americans. Y'all do this lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. This lesson is going to be about unity and charity. But not for nothing, our people have been taught division, selfishness, to think about their own gain, benefit, and pleasure. Now, Salaki, bear with me. I was trying to do this lesson before, but it got interrupted, so I had to just delete it. But yeah, man, here in America, even in the islands, you have so-called blacks, Latino, Hispanic, Native Americans, which make up the nations of Israel. And now you have so-called blacks. You have the so-called black men that are killing each other, murdering each other. Murdering each other. The Hebrew word for murder is ratazak, meaning to plan, a planned murder. You have the so-called black men that are backstabbing, betraying, and traitors, and doing whatever it takes to pretty much get on some type of level. And they're doing whatever it takes. They have that crab in a bucket mentality. You have the so-called black woman that's putting her own man down, thinking other nations are gonna love her, thinking she's gonna get some type of gain and benefit from putting down her own man, and uplifting another nation, the so-called white man. Now, you have the so-called Latina woman. You have me being and living around so-called Puerto Ricans, they have the same problems. So-called Puerto Ricans have distress, and they're proudful as hell, and they're self-centered heavily. Now you have so-called Latinos that even beef with other so-called Latinos. You have so-called Puerto Ricans that don't like the so-called Dominicans. You have Dominican Salaki. You have so-called Dominicans that don't like so-called Cubans. You have so-called Mexicans that don't like El Salvadorians that don't like the Guatemalans and the Hondurans. You have so-called Jamaicans that don't like Trinidadians. You have so-called Haitians that don't like so-called Jamaicans. You have the so-called Ghanese that don't like the Belizeans and so forth. But prior to the scriptures, the scriptures talks about unity and charity. But in the world, it's different. You have so-called blacks that don't get along with so-called Latinos. And then you have the book called Black Indians, which Esau tells our people, Slaki, that Esau pretty much says they had to keep blacks and the so-called blacks and so-called Indians here in America. They had to keep them and divided because they were the force to be reckoned. Now, starting through slavery, going to the Willie Lynch, going to the what is it, the 1700s to 1800s, where those decrees with the Constitution, which was made mainly for you Jakes, the 13 to 14 and 15 the amendment or Constitution that was to keep you people our people as property, and there was a plan and a strategy to keep you divided so they can take the wealth and keep our people in disarray for each other. Speeding up some. You had feminism. You had the civil rights, which was all programmed to destroy our people. Jim Crow and different laws, and you had rap music, and you had all sorts of media that promotes division amongst our people. Now, the word selfish is it says of a person, action, or motive lacking consideration for others, and that's all in the so-called Black and Latino community, Hispanic community, concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pleasure. So when you go around so-called blacks, their main course and concern is their self. That's why the black community is fucked up, because all our people think about themselves. That's why 2/3 have to die and be put to fucking death, because they don't understand the large picture and they're not going to wake up from this deep sleep. It said, you have so-called Latinos that's not going to put their bullshit aside to even pretty much join and come together with the so-called blacks. Now I'm gonna read these other similar definitions. It says, think egocentric, thinking only of oneself without regard for the feelings or desires of others, self-centered, and that's why you have laws that talks about rebuking. And if you see wickedness amongst our people, and if you didn't say nothing, the Lord was gonna fuck up the whole nation. And that was to keep our people away from being selfish and self-centered and thinking of their own self. It says egotistical, excessively conceited or absorbed in oneself, self-centered, preoccupied with oneself and one's affairs, self-regarding, characterized by regard or consideration for oneself, centered, self-absorbed, self-obsessed, self-seeking, um, inconsiderate, thoughtless, unthinking, uncaring, heedless, uncaring, unmindful, regardless, insensitive. Yeah, you see that? Insensitive. And that's our people. Jakes don't give a damn about what they do or their actions. That's why the so-called black woman, when she does what she does, she doesn't care about her. She don't care about her child. She don't care about the man that she had the child by. She don't have no fucking consideration. All she thinks about is her fucking self, man. Your mama, your our whole nation. That's what that was, and to put and basically to basically just kill us off, and what is it? Put the nail in the coffin. They brought in feminism, single mothers, to the pretty much just suck the remaining strength that we had from our nation. Cause our woman is the main one that's man, that's fucking this everything right here. That's just all I'm gonna say. They're greedy, unkind, insensitive, uncharitable, and that's beautiful because I got a definition on it of a person's behavior or attitude towards others, unkind, unsympathetic, and that's our woman, the so-called Black, Latina, Hispanic woman. They're unsympathetic. They don't see the large picture. They don't see that the so-called white man has destroyed our nation. They pretty much they make these movies just fueling the curses of our people, and our people having no understanding of why, you know the reason behind us being destroyed as a nation. Esau just put a flame to the fire. You know, um, bear with me one moment. I hate this new shit that how my phone does. Let me see. Men should be lovers. It says, 2 Timothy 3:2, for men, Salaki, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures than lovers of Yahweh. Now, wait one moment. Baby, I'm kind of all over the place. All right. 1 Corinthians 12. I'm gonna start at I'm gonna start at verse 12. 1 Corinthians 12 and 12 says, "For as the body is one, and have many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Yahushua." So the scripture, like the scripture says, how beautiful it is for brethren to deal with unity. And the scriptures always stress unity amongst our people and to look out for our people. Watch over the flock. For by one Spirit we are all baptized into one body, whether we be Jews or Gentiles, whether we bond or free, and have been all made to drink into one Spirit. And, this is going to, the men that's in the truth and, the brothers, basically your real family that you're going to labor with. But let me see something. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And why I read this is because just like in this truth, you're going to have brothers that have different, talents and different gifts, but we all look at each other as one. Now, even in the world, when you look at Jake as a whole, and it's fucked up because pretty much Esau tells everybody that you're all equal, but that's not the truth. And another thing too, they all, even growing up here in America, we've always been told we could do whatever the hell we want. Now, when you look into the world, you have Jakes that are good at driving, driving trucks. You have Jakes that are good at butchering animals. You have Jake that are good with animals. You have Jakes that are good at, good at being architects, good at carpentry, good at teaching. You have Jakes that are good at sewing, creating things. You have Jake. You have Jake that are good at singing. You have Jakes. You have Jakes that are good at different things, man. And it all comes, and it's all beneficial for a neighborhood, a fully unity community of Jakes. Like you have so-called Latinos that are good at at the land. They're good at working the land, at gardening, farming. You got different Jake. Again, you have, even the women. Women are there to supposed to be there for their men. Nurture, love, and care for the children and love their men. And pretty much be his helpmeet. And when his shortcomings, if he come in stressed out, whatever, she's to build him up and not look for her own gain and her own pleasure, her own profit. And the thing about it is, this Jake failed to realize the talents and the gifts that we're all been given is all beneficial for the community to be one nation, a great people of Israel. But living here in America, we've been taught is pretty much all for self. It is what it is. Don't have no consideration for your own people. Basically, fuck your own people. Suck the wealth out of your own community. Be a demon, a little terrorist in your own community, and then you pretty much you build up Esau's shit. But as you can see, that's I'm not gonna read it all. Pretty much, I got the point about the body. Let me see. Shalaki. It says definition of charity. It says in a general sense, love, benevolence, goodwill, Shalaki, that disposition of heart which inclines men to think favor. You see that, Shalaki, which inclines men to think favorably of their fellow men, to think favorably of their fellow men and to do them good. You see that? So that's charity. Let me read that again. In a general sense, love, benevolence, goodwill, that disposition of heart which inclines men to think favorably of their fellow men, they got that twice, and to do them good in a theological sense. It includes supreme love to Yahweh and universal goodwill to men. You see that? Not to rob, steal, or murder. Not to think about yourself. Not to be a niggard. Not to be stingy. Not to be greedy. Not to always be willing to take what you're not willing to give. It says, in a more particular sense, love, kindness, affection, tenderness, and that, springing from natural relations. And when you look at Jake, man, Jake is fucked up, man. Hey, man, go to the inner cities. Go to, you can go around so-called Latinos and Hispanics. And you go around the neighborhood, man, everybody's for themselves. Everybody, you can't talk, I don't fuck with that mother, I don't fuck with that nigga over there. It's sad to say, you got gangs. Here it is, it's a neighborhood, so-called neighborhood, and it's gangs there. This street beefing with the next street, you know. You don't talk to your neighbor across the street because of this and that reasons. And it's, all this hell and rioting and problems in the community. But why is that? Because our people have been taught not to be a unity, not to be a nation, to hate each other. And again, all goes back to slavery and how to keep our people basically forced not to be basically out of power and not a problem, and to be controlled and keep them as property. So as long as you're not unity, you will never have power. As long as you have unity, you will never get no fucking way. Because thinking about yourself, you would get nowhere in this world. And that's another thing. You so-called black women, you going like my boy Kevin Samuel said, you will die alone. You think that you can take this world by yourself, you will die alone. Adversity is going to show you otherwise. It says, and again, there's no natural relations with our people. As the charities of father, son, and a brother, it's a liberality to the poor. You see that? And when you look at the scripture, it's even we have scriptures on how to treat the poor of our nation. But what does Jake do? You broke ass nigga, you clown ass nigga. Look at you. Jake would clown other Jakes, because they're poor and their condition. Me and my boy in the world were actually talking about that. That it's fucked up how we treat each other, because you have a Jake that lives in the inner city. His mom will be actually on drugs, and his father would be on drugs too. So he had to pretty much get it how he had to wear what he could wear, and Jake would clown him. And here it is that kid will be in trauma, and that kid will eventually do what? Go out there and try to rob, steal, and murder, so he can stop getting picked on and get some money. It's fucked up, man. Consistent in alms giving. Oh my, you see that? This is all charity, and this is what our people lack. So-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanic, Native Americans. This is liberality, and I'm not saying to go out there to just start helping Jake, because Jake is fucked up. Fuck the 2/3, man. 2/3 are done. Fuck them. The hell with them. This lesson is for the brothers in the aqua, the Akim and the aqua that's in this truth. Because even you women, because you've been fucking brought up to think about yourself and to be jealous towards other women. This is for you as well. You have to love your fellow sister. All that jealousy shit. Yeah, another thing too. Polygamy. Yes, polygamy is going to come back. So that's something you got to deal with. It's not about your own gain and all that bullshit. This is for building. This is unity. It says, liberality to the poor, consistent in almsgiving or benefactions, or in gratuitous service to relieve them in distress. You see that? Alms, whatever is bestowed I can't say that word. Gratuitously on the poor for their relief. Liberality in gifts and service to promote public objects of utility, as to found and to support Bible. Let me see. Any act of kindness or benevolence as the charities of life, and that's the definition of charity. Now, this is what the scriptures say. 1 Corinthians 13:13. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. And we just read the definition of charity. And above all things have fervent, 1 Peter 4:8. And above all things have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Let me see. 1 Corinthians 13:4-5. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, do not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. Colossians 3:14. And above all these things, well, let me see. Let me see if I can find that actual. 1 Timothy 4:12. Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word and conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Second Thessalonians 1:3. We are bound to thank Yahweh always for you, brethren, as it is meet, because that your faith groweth exceedingly, and the charity of every one of you all toward each other aboundeth. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 13:2. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, and have not charity, I am nothing. So if you don't have charity, thinking about unity, thinking about your brothers, thinking about, thinking about the Akwaf, the Akim and the Akwaf, thinking about the nation, thinking about you don't have nothing. You can be the deepest. You can know every goddamn breakdown. You can know, man. You can be in this thing for 20 years or whatever. If you don't have charity, you're nothing. And that's what. And I'll be honest with you, man. That's one of the biggest things and the biggest problem amongst our people. We, it, Jake have no charity. Jake think about themselves. Jake is always thinking about a gain. When you look at those other camps, IUIC, ISUPK, there's no charity. They're of their own belly. For second Peter 1:5. And beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith, and to virtue knowledge, and to knowledge temperance, and to temperance patience, and to patience godliness, and to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. So the Lord all stressed charity. Now, Second Corinthians 9:7. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for Yahweh loveth a cheerful giver. Proverbs 19:17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto the Lord, and that which he have given will he pay him again. Now, in its truth, you're gonna have brothers that are gonna fall on bad times, and all brothers not gonna be a brother that has a great lump sum of money. So again, it all goes with charity. Let me see. Oh shit. 1 John 3:17. But whoso have this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of Yahweh in him? Exactly. You know how it is. How is it? Here it is. You got the goods and money in a situation that you can help another brother, but you don't offer your help. You're helping. Like one thing now. I just lost power because it's been icing and storming, but my power just came back in. And I had a situation where one of my sisters, she didn't offer up a spot for my grandmother, you know, but my grandma's house, because the line went down, but we still had power, so to speak. And my other sister, her power went out, but hey, she came on, she was able to come on over here. But that's and another example. One of the brothers in the camp, his power went out. If that brother would have asked me, yo, can I come over, da da da, I would have happily happily allowed him to stay here at the crib. That's that's charity. Let me see. Deuteronomy 15:7. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut up thy hand from thy poor brother. But thou shalt open thy hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Now, when you go amongst Jake, they clown the poor man. Here it is, a guy on a bike. He got to either be a junkie or drunk, or he fucked up his license, or he's just a bum ass nigga. But when Jake see Esau, he just a good old Edomite that's just getting a little exercise. He got man. Jake know what I'm talking about, man. But let me see. Just hitting a couple points. Let me see something real quick. Yes, Luke 6:38. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet without, it shall be measured to you again. You know, so again, charity. Let me see. Matthew 5:42. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that will borrow of thee, turn not thou away. Ye have, verse 43. Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thy enemy. Let me see. Proverbs 21:13. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard. You know? So here it is. You got a brother, and again, this is for, I'm not telling you to go out there and be going to them inner cities or you be seeing any damn Jake out there in the street. Because a lot of these Jakes out here got schemes and gimmicks. You know, they're being fucking, what you call it, forgot the word. But this is mainly for the brothers, that's in the truth, and the Aquaf that's in this truth. You help the body. It's coming down outside, damn. But yeah, you know, this is for the body, this is for Yasharala. I believe that was it. And again, we just show the definition of charity. And I'm gonna end up with that. You know, Lord willing, I will edified. You know, with that, I'm saying shalom.